Great. All right. So I wanted to, before we hand the mic over to Tara, wanted to mention a couple things that have been in the newsletter that have kind of key dates coming up or that we wanted to highlight. First is that at this year's forum, there's going to be a poster session. And we wanted to make a plug that we'd love to hear from folks about the work that they're doing through this format. So it doesn't need to be a complete project. It could be something that you're planning or that you've just rolled out. I think it's a really nice opportunity to share. And we continually hear every time LIAs get a chance to share the work that they're doing, that it is so helpful to others. So it would be a great opportunity to do that at the forum. It might also be a really good chance if you have maybe new staff, for them to have a chance to present the work that's happening on the ground in a friendly setting. And we'd love to hear from you all at the forum. So if you've got a project that you're interested in sharing, please reach out to Eileen at the CTW team. A reminder that there's an upcoming trauma-informed approach to nutrition messaging coming up. And then also there's a summer chance for additional dollars for SNAP produce match through Safeway, as well as additional dollars for WIC benefits and SNAP and EBT benefits this summer. So if you all could help circulate that information to those who could use it, that would be great, because these are time limited benefits, and we are hoping that we can get that information to anybody who could use it. All right, program updates for this summer. Toy, do you mind jumping in to talk about the nutrition education materials, and we'll come back and hopefully get Tara on the line.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
That is so weird that didn't work. Part of the work that I've come in to do is to organize some of the materials that we have. So currently we're looking at nutrition education materials that we either have or that you have built for your own local agency work. And so we have an ask for you. If you have materials that are nutrition education materials that you've built, included translated materials that you think is great material and you would be open to sharing it with certainly the DOH regions, and then we can maybe have a discussion later about whether or not it's okay to share with all of the regions in Washington State. But for now, to share with us, could you please send us those nutrition education materials that you built yourself, that you think are good, and that you are willing to share, and send it. It's on the screen here. Just send it to our regular group email address at snaped@doh.wa.gov. We would appreciate it greatly if you could do that within the next 2 weeks. So that would be by the 12th, that's a Friday, by the 12th of August. Thank you so much. And always reach out if you have any questions or anything. And yeah.
Great. Thanks, Toy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if we can get Tara back with sound this time.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Oh, yay.
Thanks
Okay.
for logging back in.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea what happened, but I think it might have been something on my end. But anyway, yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to be here and to get a chance to connect with a lot of you who I haven't gotten to interact with for the last couple months since I've moved into my new position with DSHS. But for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Tara, and I'm the SNAP-Ed program consultant with DSHS. I just began this role a couple months ago, so I'm still kind of learning the reins and figuring out exactly what I'm doing in my new position, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be able to work with SNAP-Ed in this kind of new context. And yeah, I've been asked to come and talk today about summer PEBT. And so this really isn't necessarily my area of expertise, but I do feel like it's something that's really valuable and worthwhile to understand how PEBT works and how people are enrolled and what it can be used for. And I have been able to have quite a few conversations with Troy, who many of you may remember. Troy was in my position a couple years ago as the SNAP-Ed program consultant to DSHS. And now he's working very closely with the PEBT program. So if any questions arise here today that I'm not able to answer, I should be able to bring them to him. But anyway, all of that just to say that summer PEBT is here. It has been approved finally for school-age children and children under the age of 6. I know that it's feeling really a little bit late, like summer is already nearly over and fall is just around the corner, but definitely better late than never. And one nice thing about the way summertime PEBT benefits work is that they come in a lump sum. So it's just a one-time deposit that should cover the entire summer months. So they haven't, while I'm sure it would have been really helpful for families to have been able to begin receiving their summer PEBT as soon as the school year ended, they're still getting the same amount of money. It just came a little bit later. So hopefully that will kind of help to make up for some of the lost time. I know it can't entirely make up for those couple months. So let's see. Now what I'd like to do is I have a web page here. Hold on a second. And I'm gonna share it in the chat. This is just the DSHS web page on summertime PEBT, and I found it to be really helpful. It just has all of the, it has all of the information that I think you'll need to know to understand the basics of PEBT. And I understand that Clark County has already pulled some information from this website to create some kind of flyers and just to be able to share information with people. So this is a web page that you could go to get information about PEBT. And now I'm gonna share screen so that you can look at it with me. If I can find it, here it is. So this is the DSHS webpage on summer PEBT. So first of all, it starts with what is the PEBT program, for just a little background for anyone who's not familiar. In short, pandemic EBT is meant to kind of fill the gap for families who normally would rely on free and reduced school meals for their children, either because it's summer and schools are out for the summer, or originally it began with the onset of COVID-19 when schools shut down to make up for those school meals that families were no longer able to access. So it began in the 2019-2020 school year. So what's going to happen this year is PEBT, summertime PEBT has been approved for all children, school-age children, and those under the age of 6. So anyone under the age of 18 who is eligible will be able to get PEBT for the summertime. Now in the fall, that might be a different story. PEBT has not been approved for school-age children. So it's looking like very likely this is just going to be a one-time lump sum for school-age children this summer, probably will not extend into the fall, but it may happen again next summer. For children under the age of 6, they will be able to receive summer PEBT and will continue to receive PEBT allotments into next school year. So I think it's important. I'm going to just back up here because this isn't really mentioned on this web page, and just say that PEBT can be used. It's essentially identical to EBT in the way that it can be used. So it can be used anywhere that a SNAP card can be used, and for all of the same foods. It can be used at farmers markets, grocery stores. Any grocers who are now accepting EBT payments online can also receive PEBT, and it can also be used with to receive market match, farmers market match, and produce match at Safeway and other qualifying grocery stores. So essentially, it's identical to EBT in the way that it's used, but it does come on a separate card. So for children under age 6, the way this looks is that, so it's a little bit different for children under age 6 than it is for school age children. So I'm going to walk through them each separately. For children under age 6, basically any family that qualifies for SNAP who has children in the home under age 6 will automatically, those children will qualify for PEBT. And upon enrollment in SNAP, their children will receive a PEBT card. During the school year, that card will automatically, no matter what amount of SNAP the family is receiving, that child will receive $43 a month that will be loaded into their PEBT card. They don't have to be enrolled in a school. They don't have to be enrolled in free and reduced meals. As long as their family qualifies for SNAP basic food, they automatically will receive that $43 a month. Then in the summertime, so this should have, I believe up here it said that it should have been loaded on their cards in late July for school age children, in August for July for kids under 6, and August in school age children. So they should already have received on their card a one-time lump sum deposit of $391. So across the board, all children receive the same amount. Now for school age children who are just only going to receive summertime benefits, if these children have enrolled in free and reduced meals at school, then they automatically qualify for PEBT. They automatically qualify for this lump sum of $391. So most families should have received their cards in the mail at the beginning of the pandemic when schools first closed. Many of those cards are probably lost by now. So in a minute here, I'm going to go over, there's a phone number that they can call if they've lost their cards. And I believe that if anyone's enrolled in free and reduced lunch after that point, when PEBT was first established at the beginning of COVID-19, they would have received their card in the mail upon signing up, enrolling for free and reduced lunch. Okay, yeah. So then down here, it just talks about how families, this is what we just talked about, how families apply and what to do if you've lost your card. So I believe that the cards would have been sent to whatever address the school had on file where families enrolled for free and reduced lunch. So if someone's saying that they haven't received their card, most likely the issue is that the wrong address is on file, and they would need to call and make sure that the right address is on file. And yeah, same for children under the age of 6. That address would be whatever address was on file when they signed up for, their family signed up for SNAP benefits. And then here's the phone number right here. Wait, is this it? Here it is. If I lost my PEBT card, there's a phone number here that families can call to get their PEBT card replaced. And my understanding is that there's an expectation that many families will be calling this number. So they're ready for increased volume of callers and to be able to be sending out those cards quickly. Yeah, I think that's all of the major points. So in summary, summer PEBT has been approved for all children under age 18, should come as a lump sum of $391 about now. For children under the age of 6, they should have gotten it probably last week. School-age children should be getting it around now. And if they're enrolled in free and reduced lunch for school-age children, they automatically qualify. Children under the age of 6 automatically qualify if their family qualifies for SNAP. And with that, I'm going to stop share. And if anyone has any questions, I'll do my best to answer. And see if anything came up in the chat.
Thank you, Tara. Yeah, just if you have questions, just type it in the chat or unmute. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
I don't have a question, just more as an FYI to the group. Tara mentioned that WSU Clark County Extension had created some materials around PEBT, and we shared those out with the folks that take part in the Fruit and Vegetable Incentive Program, Community of Practice. We'll go ahead and share those out with this group when we send out the notes from this meeting. So just that FYI. Thank you to Anna and everybody at WSU Clark County Extension for offering to share those materials.
And I'm just going to put my email address in the chat in case someone has any questions, so you can get in touch with me later.
I don't know if this is maybe going to be a bigger question. I was at an event and a mom was chatting with me. Her kid, let's see, I believe goes to the School for the Deaf, and because it was like a private school, she said that they can't get PEBT because there's like no free and reduced lunch. So I'm just wondering more in general, like if anybody's run into this as far as like what free and reduced lunch looks like with what's considered to be a private school, but there's still students who, yeah, would qualify. So it's more to the whole group if anybody knows anything about that.
Anna, I definitely don't know either, but that's definitely something that I can kind of dig and find out about and share that information if anyone else, if there's no one else here who has any answers to that question.
Yeah, I knew it was a weird one, so that's why I was like, well, I'll throw it out, because when it was brought up, I was like, I don't know how to answer this, but it seems like one of those gaps in the system again. So just to bring it up.
Yeah, I would think that would be a pretty substantial issue. I mean, there may be kind of this assumption that students at private school aren't going to need extra assistance, but there are plenty of children who are at schools on like scholarships, and that feels like an important question to explore.
Linda, I see your hand raised. You can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. I guess it's maybe a question for everybody. Since we're still in the summer months, and I would just be curious to know how people are getting this information out to folks, since it's the summer and summer school is pretty much over. We have this like really narrow window of opportunity to let people know about the extended benefits for PEBT. Does Clark County have any suggestions, or anyone else, about just how to easily get the word out? Most back to school events don't take place until right before or right after Labor Day, a month from now.
Yeah. For Clark County, and this you know, each county is going to have specific events that are obviously specific to that county. But I personally, we have our farmers market tour, so I have been dispersing information there. Because we're working with people already on SNAP, so I'm trying to tell them like, hey, PEBT is back. So if you've got kiddos in the home, that this is a great thing. And then I'm also going to just some different food distribution events within our county. So if we're doing like a food demo or something for the food pantry that day, I'm just chatting with anybody saying like, hey, PEBT's back again. So just things like that is what I've been doing.
Linda, I was just looking at the website again, and it does look like there are 274 days that those benefits will stay on the card. So I think you would have time to coordinate with like maybe back to school kind of things or information to check in with schools to see if they're sending out that information in back to school kind of materials.
Oh, that's good to know. Thanks for checking that out, Noah. Thank you for everybody for your suggestions in the chat too. Appreciate it.
Great. Any other questions for Tara? Great. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing. And Tara has dropped her email in the chat, and we can include it in the notes as well. So if questions come up as you are getting them from the public or are preparing information to send out to let folks know about PEBT, feel free to connect with us or Tara if you've got questions. Great. Well, we'll move on to the next topic on the agenda. Let me see if I can share my screen again. All right. And we wanted to have a chance to just check in with folks about success stories. There was just a 3-part success stories training, and now that is wrapped up, we wanted to make sure you had some resources and some next steps. And this is also a nice time to remind folks, especially those who might be new coordinators this year, that we ask that all pairs entries from every module are completed by September 15th. And this is because the whole pairs system has a close period for the fiscal year. And we need to make sure we have time to review entries where we can still ask questions and make changes. And then make sure that those are all wrapped up, everything looks good before the system closes fiscal year 22, and then we can't make changes anymore. So we ask for your entries to be finished and marked complete for every module by September 15th. So it's really good timing right now. Well, there is still a month and a half, and we've just finished the success story trainings to take a look back at your success stories and take a moment to write one if you haven't for the year. We really want to encourage everybody to think about what they've done this year that might have a really great arc to show the impact of SNAP Ed. And if you, for example, have just switched up your whole work plan and are just launching projects, maybe it's not the right timing, but we think that many folks who have ongoing work would be able to find a success story that really shows the impact of SNAP-Ed, even if the project's not finished. I think there are still many moments along the way where you can really show impact. The request from us is to, if you haven't written a success story, to take to spend a little bit of time thinking about what you've done this year and if there's a good one to highlight. If you have already made a success story entry into Pairs, we'd love for you to read through your entries with the 3 trainings in mind. We know that the information from the trainings is a little bit of a shift for SNAP-Ed, and really wanting to show a notable change and tell a story with like a clear beginning, middle, or end. And I think before, success stories could also have been like anecdotes that really show impact for one person. And that guidance has really changed this year and was the reason for the success story trainings. So if you do have a really good anecdote, we know that those are also important, and we don't want you to not have a place for them, but the place for those sort of anecdotes that might be like a really great quote or impact on an individual who participated in direct education. That doesn't really rise to the level of success story, but we don't want to miss those real highlights. And we're asking if you can include those, like, for example, if you had a participant who had a really great and meaningful experience in a direct education class, include that anecdote in the module for the direct education in the comments section. So don't include it as a success story, but still include that information, because we don't want to lose those really important, meaningful impacts that you're having on individuals. If also, it's a really great time if you've got pictures for that go along with your success story. Now is a great time to add those as well. I am going to now switch gears to a document that Toy put together based on the 3 trainings that have been offered this year. So let me stop sharing the agenda and switch to share this document. So we'll include it, it was sent out with the agenda, but we'll include it again with the notes. And it is a really nice summary that highlights the main takeaways from and has links to all of the workshops on success stories that have been offered. I also really want to call out, I feel like it's just such a nice resource with example, the SNAP-Ed Success Stories tip sheet from FNS has a really nice template that makes a really good guide for how you could tell your story and would really recommend that everybody check that out. Are there any questions about what the expectations are for success stories and how this might be similar or different than what was asked for in the past? All right, if there are no questions now, that's fine, but please let us know if you're looking at your success stories and you want to talk through. Does this sound like what you would want for a success story? We're happy to talk through those with you and help you craft a story that really shows impact. we're happy to help support that. And yeah, really appreciate everybody shifting with us as we've made this change, and this really highlighting those notable success stories is so helpful for the evaluation team to help tell the story of the impact of SNAP-Ed in our state. All right, I am going to stop sharing. Morgan, are you up for giving a quick update on the state plan?
I sure can. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick update. No big news, really. So we sent everything over to DSHS a little over a week ago. We haven't heard anything back as far as corrections needed for local agency plans. I believe it is out of Angela and Tara's hands and into the other DSHS folks' hands before going to FNS. We will let you know individually if there are any questions that we have for your plan. And so I keep a lookout on your email. If I recall, last year, we didn't hear back from FNS until into the first day or two of October. So if you don't have any word by mid to late September, don't panic. We'll keep you updated on what we hear. And yeah, happy to take any questions if you have any. Hope, request for additional funds. Yes, the supplemental fund request will come at the same time. All right, if you have other questions or you think of anything after this meeting, feel free to email me or the SNAP-Ed mailbox. Happy to answer them. And fingers crossed, everything just goes through so smoothly.
All right, well, that is all we have for today. We don't have anybody lined up to share for the next coordinator call meeting. So if you've got a project that, in addition to considering it for a poster, we would love to hear about it at coordinator call meetings coming up. So if you've got a project that you've been working on that would love to share with the group, we would be excited to hear it. So please reach out to your contract monitor and let them know, and we'd love to include you in an upcoming coordinator call meeting. We will wrap up for now, but the DOH team is planning on staying on the line, and if you've got follow-up questions, we want to make sure we've got some time left, especially for new coordinators, but really anybody who's got a question on details that we've talked about today. Please feel free to stay on and we'll try to answer questions. So nice to see all of you today, and we hope everybody's staying cool and getting a chance to enjoy some of the summer